Guys, it's Dana and it's time to talk about money. And in this video, I wanted to share with you 10 lies about money that we're all told and often believe. So let's get to it. Most people aren't necessarily bad with money. They're just following advice that they hear or are taught or that the society believes as a whole. So, let's get to the first one. And that is obviously that debt is normal. I can't stand this one. As I've talked about before, my kids have actually been taught in their financial literacy class that debt is completely normal. They're going to have debt. They're going to have it their whole lives, that they are being unrealistic to say they're not going to have it. And, okay, I get it when you come to maybe perhaps a house, but they were told this, like they had to write down credit card debt and they had to write down student loans and they had to write down all these things. They were not allowed to write zero. However, when my daughter was filling out her college applications with me and we had to go in and they were saying, write in your parents, like how much debt do your parents have? It was incredible. It was incredible for me to be able to write zero. And I have a feeling they're going to think she's lying on the application, but that's the truth. So we were able to write a big fat zero in that box that said, how much debt do your parents have? And, it's possible. It's possible to live this way because we do. Lots of people do. And so I don't like that it's just a given and kids are being taught this in school that they will have debt and they should just accept it. Okay. So obviously debt has been completely normalized and, it doesn't mean that it's healthy or that it's a great way to live just because it's normal. So debt overall just limits your choices. It makes it harder to sleep at night. And it's not a way that I enjoyed living. In fact, it was, really bad for my health. And so I am so much freer, I'm so much calmer and much less stressed now that we don't have debt anymore. And, whatever we buy it with cash or we don't buy it. So this leads to number 2, which is the you deserve it. I hear this a lot, I deserve this. I've worked hard. I deserve to have this fancy car. And, you deserve peace. That's what you deserve. And you deserve to have nice things perhaps, but after you have saved up the money, then you really deserve it. And there's no better feeling than walking into a car dealership and, writing a check and handing it to them and paying cash for your car. I mean, the dealer, is just, the 2 times I've done it, they just are blown away. They're just like, this is such an easy process. And you can tell that they don't have that experience very often, like at all. And it just goes quick, it's easy, simple. You give them the money and you leave and you've got the car and you don't have any payments. It's just a magical experience. But so you deserve nice things, but not the stress of future payments and regret. The next one is that you can always catch up later, right? That in the future, you're going to make more money and you'll be able to pay it off later. But if you continue to live your life as in the future, I'll be able to do it, then you're going to continue to do that even in the future. So in the future, you might make future you might make more money, but then future you is going to say, well, future me is going to be able to pay this off. And so it's just sort of a bad cycle, if that makes any sense. So it's not ever really, you're never really going to get there. You're going to continuously up the game there, and you're going to be chasing after your tail the whole time. Like you're never actually going to get anything paid off. And like I said, it's just hard to make a change then if you're living that way. Next is a credit card is an emergency fund. No, it's not. It's not cash is an emergency fund. A credit card is not, because if you put your emergency on your credit card and you can't pay it off, then that comes with tremendous amount of stress. So if you pay an emergency with cash, then you feel like, oh, good thing we had that money there and now it's paid for and we don't have to worry about it. Now we just have to rebuild our emergency fund. It's a totally different thing, totally different feeling, different spirit to it if you have an emergency and you can pay it with money versus having to use your credit card and then you have to struggle to pay off that credit card going forward. Next is more income is going to solve everything. I know typically men do this a lot, that they just try to keep out earning themselves. But usually what happens with a higher income is you just have higher expenses, that you get that bigger, you get that big promotion or you get that new job. And then suddenly you're like, oh, I need a new car to go along with this so I can fit in with my coworkers, or I need a bigger house. And then your expenses just continue to rise. I believe this happens a lot with doctors, and it's just, you don't ever get out of debt, and it just continues to have, you have more, even though you make a huge income, you have huge expenses, and it's very tough to get ahead in that scenario. So control and self-discipline beats income every time, every time. I don't care how much money you make. It doesn't matter. If you can have self-discipline, then you're going to win. Next is, if it's on sale, then you are saving money. This isn't true because if it's something you didn't really need to buy in the first place, you're still spending money, whether it's on sale or not. So the idea that it's on sale and that's going to justify you purchasing it doesn't make any sense. But this is often said, like, it's on sale, so we should get it. But if, like I said, if you weren't going to spend that money anyway, and you don't really need that item, and you don't have the money to purchase that item, then it doesn't matter if it's on sale. It doesn't make a difference. You're still spending money. Next is that budgets are restrictive. People are like, oh, budget, I don't want to be on a budget. I've even heard my husband say this in the past. He's like, oh, the budget, but the budget is not restrictive. Having a budget actually is the opposite, because then you know exactly how much money you can spend on certain things. And if you feel as if it's too restrictive, then add money to that category in your budget, because then you need more money in that category. So it should never be restrictive. That's not the goal of a budget. A budget just means that you have thought it out and you've planned for it, and you know how much money that you and your partner, or that you have decided to spend in that category. That's all it is. It's not restrictive. Next is that everyone else can afford this. And this one happens a lot because of Facebook and comparison. So really, it might seem as if everyone else can afford to go to Disney World or wherever they're going, but most likely they can't. And you really shouldn't be comparing, because you don't know what's going on. Maybe their parents, are wealthy and they paid for that vacation for them. Or, maybe they really did save up the money to pay for their Disney trip, or they put it on their Disney credit card and they can't afford it and they're going to be paying for it for the next 10 years. They're going to be in debt. So it's most likely that not everybody can afford to do everything. They're just doing it and they're acquiring debt. The next one is that you're bad with money. I'm sure you're not bad with money. It's probably that you just haven't been taught, or you haven't done the research or educated yourself on how best to manage your money. Even extremely wealthy people can be very bad, or not wealthy per se, but high income earners can be very bad with money. And it might appear that they're good with money because they earn a lot, so they have a lot to spend, but that doesn't mean anything. You don't know what their net worth is, and probably you haven't been taught. It's not talked about a lot. It's not a topic that people generally speak about together. So because of that, a lot of people they don't know how to handle their money. So I would say, you're watching this YouTube video, which is a step, right? So you just want to try to educate yourself and learn so that you can become better, and you probably are good with money if you know what to do. Most people have not been modeled good money habits, and so that's something that we have to learn. Okay, and then this one is that getting out of debt has to be miserable. What a god-awful way to live your life. It's terrible. And it is hard. I'm not going to lie. Okay, it can be. It can be a little bit of a slog. I've talked about that before. But it doesn't have to be miserable. It really doesn't. I mean, you can still have pleasure in your life, even if you're trying to get out of debt. All right. It just means that when you are getting out of debt, that you have a plan and you're more disciplined, and you have certain categories you're going to spend on, others that you're not. And you're just more in control. You're more in control, and it doesn't have to be miserable. You can maybe find new things that you love, things that are free to do. And maybe you're going to spend more time with your family. Maybe you're going to be closer than ever with your family while you're getting out of debt, because or with your partner, because you have this shared goal, and it's super fun to, go around and, see what kind of deals you can get, or where you can save money, or what things you can cut out of your life. It can be a really rewarding, satisfying process that can help you to discover new things about yourself, new interests that you might find, and then also build closer relationships with your family or with your friends. Maybe your friends also decide to do this journey with you, or they're just super supportive, or you discover who is a true friend during this process and who isn't. So it doesn't have to be miserable at all. It can be probably like one of the best experiences of your whole life, depending on how you go about it. Money lies are so powerful because they sound completely reasonable until we question them. So I really challenge you to question all types of money lies in your life and try to forge your own. Okay, well, my battery died. As I was saying, wherever I left off, be clear about what is the truth to you, and let me know down below in the comments what is a money lie that you have always believed and that you discovered to be untrue, and I'll talk to you guys in the next video. Okay.